Don't rock the jukebox.
The 90s may be seen by a lot of people as the last great decade for country music, but it wasn't a great sound of music that came to Nashville overnight. Many years artists paid their dues in the decades before the 90s, and the artists from the past decade would lay the groundwork for the sound to come. With country music losing its edge in the early 80s, many felt that pop country was the future of the country sound. As we look at each year from the 80s to the end of the 1990s, we find that pop country was a dividing influence on the sound of the 90s, as well as the raw country sounds of the past. The artists that grew up in the pop country era would take sounds, mixing it with old style country for a new neo-pop country that was true to its roots and made a lasting impression for years to come.
One night, a couple of winters ago, we were learning this Dolly Parton song. And while we were singing, I looked over at my Papa Judd. He was visiting us, and he was crying. And we'd never seen our Papa Judd cry before, and I asked him what was the matter. And he said when he was a little boy, he had a coat, just like this coat of many colors in this song. So every time we sing this song, I think of him.
1984 started off with a bang, thanks to the mother and daughter duo, the Judds. Mother of the group, Naomi, was born in Ashland, Kentucky. At 18, she would become a mother to Winona. After a divorce, the mother and daughter moved to Los Angeles in 1968. But Naomi found it was hard to find steady work, so her and her daughter moved to Tennessee. There, she would start to study to become a nurse, and her and her daughter would play music for extra money whenever they could. Naomi would pass around a demo tape of the two all over Nashville. It would take until 1983 for anyone to really listen to those tapes and see the talent of the mother and daughter singers. Producer Brent Meyer was the man that heard the talent on those tapes thanks to his daughter. This would land the Judds a meeting with RCA Records, who signed up the two immediately. Not to waste any time, RCA would release a 6-song EP titled Winona and Naomi. The first single would be Had a Dream from the Heart, a song recorded by Elvis in 1976.
This was our first record, and thank all of you for making it a hit for us. Had a dream about you, baby. Had a dream about me and you.
The song would break into the top 20, hitting number 17. RCA again didn't want to waste any time, and they released a second single, Mama He's Crazy.
Mama, he's crazy, crazy over me. In my life is where he said always want to be.
The song was a huge success. It would hit number 1 in 1984, and that would lead to 7 of the next singles all hitting number 1. Their first full album, Why Not Me, was released in late May 1984. Most of the non-pop, more traditional country artists was men. This was a breakthrough that showed a more traditional sound for female artists. The Judds would pick up the 1994 CMA's Horizon Award, plus the ACM's Vocal Duo of the Year, and their song, Why Not Me, would take home Song of the Year.
Oh, God. Slap the dog and spit in the fire. We didn't even figure out anything to say. I wanted a real pretty dress. I just coming here was enough. I discovered a long time ago that it's no fun trying to be cool. So I'm going to tell you all the truth. We've never been so nervous or so excited or happy in our whole lives.
The Judds were not the only one breaking records in 1994. Earl Thomas Conley hit number 1 in July with Angel in the Sky.
Whoa, angel in disguise.
Making it his 4th number 1 single from his album, Don't Make It Easy for Me. This would be the first time any artist in any field of music would have 4 singles from one album hit number 1. Earl was born in Ohio, and as a young adult, he was offered a scholarship to an art school, but would turn it down to join the Army. In the Army, he would join a Christian trio group. This is where Earl decided music was the career he wanted to follow in his life. In 1973, while in Nashville, he met Dick Hurd, who was Mel Street's producer. The two would hit off, and Dick and Earl would write the hit song Smoky Mountain Memories for Mel Street.
Smoky Mountain memories about my home in Tennessee. Yesterday keeps calling me home.
This would lead for Earl getting a writing job with Nelson Publishing House, and in 1979 he would sign his first record contract with Warner Brothers Records. However, he didn't find much success from it. He would leave Warner Brothers and join RCA, and with them he would have his first hit, Silent Treatment, would reach number 7, while his second song in 1981 would be his first number 1.
But it was fire and smoke. Ooh, what a rush I got when your love was hot. Oh, but I couldn't see.
Hits would keep coming for Earl Thomas Connolly. He would become one of the most successful artists of the 80s. By the end of that decade, he would rack up 18 number 1 singles. A fiery redhead had been slowly making waves in country music, and by the end of 1984, Nashville would finally take notice. Reba McEntire would walk away with CMA's Female Artist of the Year.
When I was about, well, back when Merle Haggard was winning for Okie from Muskogee, I'd go to bed at night and I'd rehearse my acceptance speech. Because I knew, I had it in my heart, I knew God meant for me to do this one of these days, and He didn't let me down.
Reba had been recording country music since being signed to Mercury Records in 1975. She would release single after single in the 70s, with none of them making any real impact. That was until 1980 when she had her first top 10 with You Left Me Up to Heaven.
I've been to Colorado where the mountains touch the sky, and I've done other things in life to lift my spirits high.
A few minor hits would come, but nothing would really break her out as an artist to recognize. Although at this time she was having hit singles, she didn't have any hit record sales. In 1984 she signed with MCA Records, and this would give her a number 13 album with My Kind of Country. Although she would rack up hits in there and even win awards, the powerhouse that would become Reba McEntire was still a few years away.
What do you cook at home? What's your specialty?
My specialty is mountain oysters, and then I cook baked beans real well.
What is mountain oysters?
That's lamb fries.
Lamb fries. I don't know what that is either.
You're Charlie laughing in there.
I hear him in the control room laughing.
I'll tell you later.
It's just a food. Give me a hint.
It's a, am I blushing?
In 1983, Willie Nelson teamed up with Merle Haggard for the hugely successful Pancho and Lefty. And in 1984, Willie would team up with another artist for a huge hit. But this one would be a lot different than Merle Haggard. Julio Iglesias wasn't a name most people heard of in country music. The successful Spanish singer was a huge name in the world of Spanish music, and teaming up with Willie Nelson made his name well known outside the Spanish music field. To All the Girls I've Loved Before was a number 1 hit on the country charts and number 5 on the Billboard's Top 100. They would also land him and Willie a CMA for Duo of the Year, and due to the success of the song, Julio's 1984 album would sell over 3 million copies.
To all the girls I've loved before,
Alabama was still pulling in record sales, top singles, and awards in 1984. They would take home the Entertainer of the Year once again at the CMA. It might seem to some that pop country was starting to fade out.
How you doing?
Fine.
Anything I can do for you?
Well, not yet.
The urban cowboy craze was long gone, and new country artists like George Strait, John Anderson, The Judds, and Reba McEntire were starting to dominate country radio. But pop country wasn't dead just yet. That was proven when Anne Murray took home CMA for Single of the Year and Album of the Year thanks to her song A Little Good News.
I'll come home this evening, I bet that the news will be the same. Somebody takes a hostage, somebody steals a plane.
Also, a more pop country song in the male field would also win big at the CMAs. Gary Morse's song Wind Beneath My Wings would give the songwriters Song of the Year.
Did you ever know
Ready or not, here we come.
Hank Williams Jr. was finally finding a lot of success after getting out of his father's shadows in the late 70s, but that success wasn't as clear in Nashville, as he seemed to still be shut out by the insiders of the Nashville bigwigs. Hank Jr. was seen mostly as someone wild to work with, and wasn't someone that fit into the corporate world. However, after a string of hits, he would get his very first #1 album with Major Moves. The success of that album was mostly due to the huge single, All My Rowdy Friends Are Coming Over Tonight. That song was a hit on radio, but it was just as big of a hit on television thanks to the music video, full of cameos of famous friends, made it a beloved hit. The rise of country music videos had given the Country Music Association a new category to award, and Hank Williams Jr.'s All My Rowdy Friends Are Coming Over Tonight was the first CMA award to be given for Music Video of the Year.
Mandrell's car was crushed like an accordion at a head-on collision Tuesday night that left the other driver dead. Mandrell's sister Louise, who met the ambulance at the hospital, said Barbara's 2 children were slightly injured. Police claim the singer and her youngsters might have been killed if they hadn't been wearing seat belts.
On September 11, 1984, Barbara Mandrell, one of country music's most beloved artists, would come close to death as she would suffer head and leg injuries in a near-fatal car accident. Sadly, the 19-year-old driver of the car that hit her wouldn't be as lucky. Mark White would be killed when his car crossed the center line of U.S. Highway 31 and collided with Barbara Mandrell's vehicle. Inside with Barbara Mandrell was her 2 children.
Still recovering, as she will be for some time. She's in a Nashville hospital. A rumor got out that she was going to have plastic surgery on that pretty face, and that is not true. Her face is not marked, she is bruised. I suppose the major problem is that she has a broken leg, and as a result, they have put that leg into traction, and subsequently, after that leg has been in traction for a while, I'm told that they will perform an operation and put a pin in her leg, and what she needs now is time to recover, and they've been very, she took quite a lick.
Fans would spend months praying and sending flowers to the Mandrell family as her long recovery took place. However, a lot of fans would also criticize the singer when she would file a lawsuit against the 19-year-old's family for $10 million due to losing income during her time of recovery. Barbara Mandrell's attorney would assure the fans that this was a normal process and was done to collect money from the insurance company, not from the family of Mark White. After about a year of recovery, Barbara Mandrell would return back to the stage.
But this could have been my last performance. My children, Matt and Jamie, and I were not safety belt users, but minutes before this crash, we put them on. Experts say that we would have been killed without them. I share this with you out of love. Please buckle up. You may never get another chance.
We'd like to introduce a man who has become a legend in his own time. The Texas troubadour, Ernest Tubb.
Walking the floor over you.
Country music fans will mourn one of the first legends with the passing of Ernest Tubb. Ernest Tubb, nicknamed the Texas Troubadour, was the first country music superstar. Born in 1914 on a cotton farm, Ernest would spend his youth working on farms throughout Texas. At 19, he took a job as a singer for a radio station, KNON. His first big hit would be Walking the Floor Over You, a song that would become a classic in country music. Other hits would come, such as Soldier's Last Letter, Rainbow at Midnight, and many more. His last top 10 would be a year before 1983, when he teamed up with Hank Williams Jr. and Waylon Jennings for Leave Them Boys Alone.
Now they say Hank Jr. has strayed away from all them songs, put his daddy in an early grave.
He would pass away at the age of 70, but his music would stay a huge influence on country music artists to come.
We didn't like to see this place. We're in the jailhouse now.
country music would also lose someone very important to the style of country music. Nudie Cohn was a Ukraine-American tailor who designed rhinestone-covered suits for most of the successful country artists. The suits would become known as Nudie suits. Nudie would start up his business in 1941 when he pressured a then struggling country singer named Tex Williamson to buy him a sewing machine, and in turn he would make him a suit. He would open up Nudie's of Hollywood in Hollywood, California. He would pass away at 81 with Dale Evans giving the eulogy at his funeral. 1984 had its hits, but it was clear the urban cowboy craze that had made country music a huge success was gone. Not only was record sales starting to slip, the audience was seen to be moving away. Even if there was huge successes, sales overall was cut in half. This would cause the New York Times to declare in 1985 that country music was dead. However, 4 legends of country music would team up to prove them wrong, and also help usher in a whole new era of country music.